were just waiting for you. It's already 7-1. Although people are joining in, but we can go ahead with your, small introduction, and then we can start in 2 more minutes, I guess.
Is it visible?
Yes, it is. In the meantime, we can do an activity where people can drop in the chat box what all profiles they are coming from, like who all are already data analyst or data scientist, or if someone is in marketing or sales or any other profile. You can drop in the chat box, and we'll be able to know, the personas of people in the session today, and we'll be able to take the session accordingly in appropriate direction. Great, great. This session is for everyone, whether you are, already a data analyst or not a data analyst. It's just a matter of if you aspire to be in the field, then this session is for you. So, oh, okay, we got a lot of responses. Thank you, everyone. I think now we can start with what all market looks like in terms of job opportunities in the field of data analytics. So over to you, Abhishek.
Yeah, sure. Thanks. Anshika. So yeah, let's begin. Before we begin our session, let me introduce myself. So I work at Amazon as a data scientist, wherein I am working on ad-related problems. I am building machine learning models to detect if an ad was viewed by a bot or if it was viewed by a human. So that is a very high-level problem I am working on at Amazon. Prior to this, I worked at Cipla, wherein I worked in the manufacturing department of drug production and improved the efficiency of drug production using machine learning models. So, and prior to this, I worked at Verizon, wherein I joined as SD and later on moved towards data science role. So, like, if you also look into my experience, you can see like I have experience in multiple domains, and it is not like generally people have this confusion that they are from a different non-tech role, that they can they apply their skills or can they come into data related fields or not. So I think you guys can see from here, I'm working on ads. I have worked on manufacturing department. I have worked on telecom in operator as well. So with pretty much every domain this field is applicable. So yeah, we'll just cover up what data analytics is. Then we'll look into what are the skills required in data analytics field in order for you to get a job. Then why data analytics matters and what are some project ideas you can have in your resume so that you stand out. And what are active job roles in companies like Mang, or there are many other companies. And finally, what is the interview process on high level with with companies around. So we'll just cover up these things in flow. Yeah, let's understand what data analytics is. So data analytics is just an art of pulling out insights from the data. Whatever data we observe, whatever data we get, if we can pull out some of the insights from that data using mathematics, using stats, or using any other mathematical tool, that thing is known as data analytics. So with increase in with increase in data production, data analytics is also becoming very trendy job these days. And it is good if you guys know about data analytics at this time. So it includes like analysis of textual data, analysis of images, analysis of video. Any kind of data is, if it is available, then we can analyze it. Analyze it, then we can look into it, pull out some of the insights, and help business grow better. So this is what data analytics means in a nutshell. So these are some of the key elements I have mentioned over here, which are there in a life cycle of data analytics role. So let's say you're targeting for a data analyst. or you are targeting for data scientist role or business analyst, some of these steps would be applicable in your job. So I'm explaining all of these steps. These all steps may or may not be applicable to all of the roles, but whatever roles are derived from data analytics field, these steps are applicable. Like some of these steps, let's say if you are targeting for data engineer role, data collection would be for you. If you are targeting for, let's say, a data analyst role, then exploration and visualization would be applicable for you. So these are some of the some or many, like one or two or all would be applicable for you as per your job role which you're targeting for. So let's understand from the beginning. Data collection. Data collection is just simply means collecting the data, which states as well. So it could be in the form of image, it could be in the form of text, and it could be in the form of scalar tables or tabular data, which is there in Excel. So data format can be different, but data collection means collecting the data. And in order for us to pull out some of the insights, we need to have the data. And this is the very first step of data analytics project, which is data collection. Now, data collection can be manual, can be computed as well. Like manual, as in you can click photos from your phone or from any of the device. That is also data collection. And you can use any of the API from any existing portal, any existing website or device. And you can use the API of that device and collect the data. Let's say you are recording temperature within your city, so from that device, you can pull out the data of temperature every day and collect the data. That is also data collection. So in data collection, we generally record the data, we store that in whatever format is required. Once data collection is done, we move forward with cleaning and pre-processing it. Now, cleaning and pre-processing means like, let's say we have a data in which there is a column named as name. So name can be anything like Abhishek, or any name can be there. But let's say we found out some numbers in that name column. Let's say there are some garbage values like hash at the rate. This can't be a name. So these values have to be cleaned up before we can use this data. So this cleaning up of the data is done in data cleaning process. And pre-processing is also required. Let's say we want to convert the data from string to numerical format, or from textual data to numerical format. So that is done in pre-processing step. So in pre-processing and cleaning, we generally look into the records, and we convert them based on our requirement. So if our requirement states that we need this column in certain data type, we'll just convert that. If requirement states that noise or garbage values from each of the columns should be removed, then we clean up those garbage values. Either we remove those rows itself, or we compute them on the basis of some logic. So this all is covered under cleaning and pre-processing of the data. Coming to next point, which is data exploration and data visualization. So now that we have our data ready with us, the data is in required format, it is cleaned with no garbage values. Now we want to understand what this data is telling us, like what each of the column is telling us, and we want to maybe visualize it. We may want to explore it using statistical analysis. So that step, these kind of steps are done in these two steps, like data exploration and visualization. So if you're targeting for, let's say, data analyst role, these are the very important steps for you. So you should be knowing like how to explore the data, how to visualize the data. So for let's take an example, very small example. Let's say we are looking into the data of heights from a student of class 8th. Now we want to find out what is the mean height of people, of students in class 8. So we can just plot the data. We can plot the data in histograms and find out what is the mean of the heights, or we can directly pull out mean from the data as well. So it depends on what kind of approach we need. But yeah, oh, in a nutshell, in exploration and visualization, this is what is done. Now, once we have understood our data, once we have explored our data, we move towards statistical analysis or machine learning analysis. So let's say our use case involves some kind of statistical model to be applied. So that is done on this step. Once we have understood our data, now we are applying some of the statistical analysis. Like we want to find out, is there any correlation between height and the age of students within certain standard, like if there is any correlation or not. So that can be identified using statistical analysis, wherein we'll just figure out if there is any correlation between age and height of students or not. So these kind of analysis is done in statistical analysis step. Then if required, like if the project needs any machine learning prediction, deep learning prediction, that is done in machine learning step. So let's say we have clean data, explore the data, pull out some of the insights using statistical analysis. Now we want to predict out the future. We want to predict out the for or forecast some of the values from our existing data in near future time. So that is done in machine learning step or deep learning step. So in this step, we take the data and pass it on to our model according to the format required, and we then pull out the insights on the basis of outcome of model. So we just try to predict if any outcome will happen or will not. So let's take an example. We have some weather related data and we want to predict out if it will rain or not tomorrow. So in that scenario, we'll just clean our data, explore our data, do some statistical analysis if required, and then finally apply some classification model which will predict or which will give you some score saying that yeah, there is 90% chances that it will rain tomorrow based on these parameters. So this all is done on machine learning step. And finally, once these steps are done, once we have figured out, like we have solved our problem, we have our insights ready with us, be it from statistical analysis, be it from machine learning predictions. We have our insights. We then present them to our business, like whatever use case we are working for, whatever business we are working for, we present these insights to them. Now, insights should be presented in such a manner that even non-technical people can understand, be it in graphical representation, be it in some business metrics. So we'll have to translate our metrics, our insights in such a format that these numbers or this information is understood by business people who are mainly from non-tech background only. So this is what is done in business insights. We'll have to convert our insights into business format. Yeah. So let's understand like what are different types of data analytics. So mainly there are four types of analytics: descriptive, diagnostic, predictive, and prescriptive. So in descriptive analysis, we try to find out what happened. Let's say you were examining a graph of sales for, let's say, a month, and the graph had information of sales done on each day. Let's say there were 1 lakh rupees of sale yesterday, 2 lakh rupees of sales today. Like this, there are a number of there is amount associated with each day sales. Let's say you are observing that and you find out there is a you observe that there is a spike in your data. There is suddenly a sales shot to 1 cr, which is very unusual in a day. So that step comes in a descriptive analysis, wherein you find out what happened. Like there was a spike in our data, and total amount increased. So over here we use total, or we use count as our statistical method to find out what happened. Then once we have identified what happened, now we'll look into why it happened. So we want to find out like what was the cause of spike in sale. Like, was this a real spike in sale? Was there some integration issue on website? Was there any other issue? So we want to find out, like diagnose what was the cause for this spike. And then in predictive, we want to find out like what will happen in future. Let's say we have identified the cause. Now what will happen in near future? What will happen tomorrow or day after tomorrow? Like, will this spike continued? Will this spike be going down, coming down? So this is what we do in predictive analysis. Like, we try to predict out what will happen based on our diagnostic or descriptive information. Then finally, prescriptive analytics is there, wherein we want to make out some future. Like, let's say uh, we want to achieve sales of 2 cr in a month. Now how we can achieve that sale? So we'll look into the data and find out the answer. So that is done in prescriptive analytics steps. So we start with identifying problem, we diagnose it, we look like what will happen in near future, and then we'll finally look like, do we need certain scenario in our future? If we need, then how we can achieve that. So this is all done in data analytics steps. Now, you might be wondering like why there is sudden boom of data analytics these days, and why it was not there like, let's say, 10 or 15 years ago. If I'll tell you, like, statistical models, machine learning models, and basics of deep learning, these all were there since 1970s, 1960s already. But why there is sudden boom in the market right now, and will this be continued for near future or not? So let's understand this part. So in today's world, computation has become very cheap. So everybody is having some or the other device which is capable of computing, which is capable of recording the data. Earlier we didn't have this accessibility. So back then, like 10 or 15 years ago, we didn't have the smartphones, we didn't have the phones which were having good quality of camera. So data recording was very difficult, data computation was very difficult. But in today's scenario, hardware has become very cheap, and that's when we are able to apply our mathematical or statistical knowledge to analytics world, and we are able to compute the data faster. And this is why there is this boom, and it has just started. Like, this will continue for, I believe, many years, because we have begun to record the data, and now we are starting to apply our mathematical or statistical skills on top of it, and starting to generate insights. So if you see, pretty much every domain is having the application of data analytics, be it finance, be it healthcare, marketing, e-commerce, anywhere. Like, everywhere data is generated. It's just if we are recording it or not. If we are recording it today, then we can apply our skills today only. And if we are going to record in some near future, then also we can apply our skills to that part. So once the data is collected, we can apply our skills over it. So pretty much everywhere, I would say, like, completely everywhere, this knowledge of data analytics can be applied. And let's take an example of healthcare. In healthcare industry, you can have the records of patients, like what some patient, what is the age of the patient, how many times he or she is visiting the hospital. There can be a number of information associated with the patient. So there is the data, and we can apply our skills to the data. Like, we can find out who are the potential patients, what we can offer so that they can come to us and not go to our competitors hospital. So any kind of uh, information can be pulled out from our data. This is applied to a very small kirana shop as well, wherein data is not recorded in computers, but written in the registers still. So let's say there is kirana shop, and owner is maintaining a register with sales, with items. So this is also our data, and we can apply our knowledge to this as well. Then coming to a big giant like Amazon, over there also this analysis or this data analytics can be applied. So everywhere this this knowledge is applied, and we can move ahead with any of the domain. Like you should not be having any concern saying that if I have worked in this domain, will I be able to apply my knowledge over here or not? Everywhere it can be applied. It's just that data should be recorded. That's it. So yeah, moving on to the skills required in data analytics. So based on your interest, based on the job roles you are targeting, you can learn some of the skills or all of the skills. So it is up to you, like what job role you are targeting. I have mentioned all of the skills which are required mainly in data analytics role. So Excel is required, wherein I just divided these skills into soft skill and technical skill. Generally, we tend to focus more on technical skills because these are very important. But I think we should equally focus on soft skill as well, wherein communication comes at the top. Like you should be a very good communicator. If you know some skill, if you have solved some problem, if you have done some project, then you should be able to communicate that with your interviewer. You should be able to communicate within your team. So communication is very, like, it is a must skill you should be having. So I would say, like, before going to interview, work on your communication. You should be able to deliver what you have learned or what you have done effectively to the interviewer. Then problem solving and critical thinking. So you should be able to apply your skills learned to the problem, or you can generate out like a use case from from existing data using problem solving or critical thinking skills. So now, let's say Excel. You should be knowing like how you can apply the skill of Excel to the real world scenario. So that comes under problem solving and critical thinking, wherein like how to apply your skills to specific data, specific problem to solve it. So yeah, so you should be good with soft skill. Like interviewers do want to know, like, if you are good with communication. They'll give you some problems which will require problem solving and critical thinking as well, so that they can understand if you are able to apply your skills or not. Then, yeah, coming to the technical skills over here, you should be able to know, you should be knowing Excel, wherein using Excel, data manipulation can be done. Basic analysis like counts or standard deviation, mean, mode, median can be calculated. Some kind of visualization can be done. So this is expected out of you from Excel part. Using SQL, you should be able to query large database. You should be able to generate out queries for any scenario. Let's say we want to find out what are the top 10 products which were sold mostly on, let's say, date X. So you are able to solve this query using SQL, then you are good to go. So you should be efficient with solving queries, and you should be efficient with pulling out the data or handling large data. Then coming to the Python. So Python is required for advanced analysis or scripting. So over here, we generally plot our data, we generally explore our data using this, and we pre-process our data or apply machine learning models. So this is all is expected out of you from Python side. You should be knowing a library which can handle the data, which can pre-process the data, and which a library which can apply machine learning or statistical models to your data. That is expected out of you. Then coming to Power BI, if you are targeting for, let's say, a data analyst role, then Power BI is must for you. You should be knowing, like, Power BI or any BI tool is must for you. You should be knowing like how to create an interactive dashboard, how to create a report, how to create visualization out of your data. So that is what is expected. Then coming to machine learning or deep learning, over here you should be knowing like classical machine learning models, uh, predictive models, or you should be knowing deep learning models. So this is what is expected out of you from this step. And coming to big data, over here you should be knowing like how to do ETL, like transform and load, how to handle big data like trillions of records, millions of records, how to handle them, how to pull them out, how to use them efficiently. So that is all done in big data part. Over here you can learn Spark, and you can learn SQL as well. So this is all required if you are looking into some of the roles in data analytics. So not all of these skills are required for each and every role. Let's say you're targeting for data engineer, then you are required to know SQL, Python, and big data. If you're targeting for data analyst role, then you are required to know Power BI, Python, SQL, Excel. So like that it goes. Like whatever role you are targeting for, a skill will be applied or used. So there is an interesting stat from stat states that in India by 2026 we'll have 11 million openings in data related field. So that is a lot. And if you see, like, data related field includes data engineer, data analyst, data scientist, etc. I'll just talk about them a little later. So in a nutshell, it says that there will be a lot of openings, and I think this number is even small. Like there should be more and more openings by 2026, because we are adopting to data collection very fast these days. Then there is a stat from Glassdoor, which states that out of 250 resumes, only 4 to 6 are shortlisted for interview, and only one will get job offer. So if you see, like, competition is quite high. If you are upskilled well, if you know the right skills at right time, that will help you a lot, because uh, with each passing day, competition is increasing. The knowledge is accessible to all, and everyone is, rushing towards this field. So if you have right skill, and if you know right number of if you have done right number of projects, then there are very very high chances of yours to cover up uh, to get shortlisted and get a job offer as well. So I'll just state a very uh, common example. These days, data analytics or data science has become a very buzzy word, and people tend to jump into it before without even understanding the basics of it. And they use Python libraries which are easily accessible and generate out some of the projects out of it, like using Hugging Face and all. So they are able to do convert some of the things and make a project out of it. That is well and good, but they don't understand the deeper knowledge, or understand the how the model is working from inside. So that skill is lacking from a lot of people these days. And if you are able to, upskill yourself correctly, if you are able to find out what particular skill is needed, then a very good chance is there that you can get shortlisted easily. So I would suggest to go for some of the courses, specifically paid courses, because over there people work on those courses to make them updated according to the market. And over there, some industry experts are also like behind the course. The industry experts are also working. Like people from industries are working, and they are building those courses. They know that what skill we are looking for. That's when they are building that course. And these courses also provide you job assistance, which is very very important, because uh, as an individual you might cover up all the skills, you might cover up projects, but still you will need some of the connections to reach out to people. By directly applying to companies website, it generally doesn't work out well in real world scenario. So you should be having a good connection. And if any company or if any program course is providing you that job assistance program, I think if you can afford it, then please grab it. Don't let it go. Yeah, with this, like, I would like to introduce Coding Ninja is also having some of their programs, and which offers some of these things which I have mentioned over here. You guys can check out the course, and you can fill up a form which Coding Ninja's team will share in a minute. and try to understand like what are the skills they are offering, if those are relevant for you or not. So I think anyone from Coding Ninjas team or Anshika can share the link in chat. We'll just wait. Yeah, link is already shared in chat. You guys can check it out, fill out the form. I'll just wait for 1 or 2 minutes, and after that we'll start again. Try to understand what are different things we need to have. Yeah, this link is for, like, you can understand the program. If you want to understand what is the program offered by Coding Ninjas, do fill out the form. I think these questions can be like, what are the price, what are the features? These can be answered by Coding Ninjas team later on. If you want to explore the program, you can fill out the form and try to understand if it is relevant for you or not. So I would suggest like go for any paid program which offers these things which I have mentioned. Job assistance is very must. Like if there are connections of company in industry, they can really help you out with getting a job. It works in both ways. Like if any industry expert is behind building the program, then he or she would want like people coming from this course are joining our team. And it works for a program manager, it works for people like coaching people as well, so it works for both or always. Yeah, I think we can continue. It's uh, 2 minutes already. So yeah, please fill up the form. We'll just begin with our session. Now, what are some of the case studies or projects that you should be having or you can mention in your resume so that um, you stand out well among others? So I have listed some of these real world case studies which can help you. Uh, so let's say national air quality. So these case studies or projects include various these projects give you chance of applying various skill set. So let's go back to skills slide. So let's say you want to apply your Excel skill or you want to apply your BI related skill. So in this air quality project, you can apply, you have the scope of applying both of these skills. Even you have the scope of applying machine learning or deep learning knowledge as well, wherein you can predict out the quality of air based on certain parameters, or you can plot out the quality of air in certain region, or you can do some analysis using Excel. So these projects have the scope of applying all of the skills which you have learned. So that's why I mentioned over here, and you can learn about these case studies, so that in interview as well there is a round of case study round wherein they ask you like this design a recommendation system used by Netflix. Now, if you have already worked on Netflix dataset, it will be easier for you. So it works in both ways. In case studies round as well, it works in giving you in projecting your skills in the form of projects in your resume as well. So yeah, do check out these data sets or projects. Now, what are some career options available in data related field? So, uh, different companies name their job roles differently, but mostly those are segregated into 4 to 5 job roles only. So, I'll just explain you high level job roles, and nearby roles can be found with every company. So, we will begin with data engineer over here. What is the work of data engineer? The work of data engineer is to collect the data, to transform it, to convert the data into a format which can be used by data analyst or data scientist. So once that data is transformed, This data is dumped to some specific locations, and from there it is consumed by analyst or scientist or any other person. So the work of data engineer is to efficiently convert the data, efficiently collect the data. By the word efficient, I mean like the data collection should be fast. There should not be much of delay. Data transformation should be fast. There shouldn't be much of delay over there. So delay should be minimized and work should be done faster. So data should be collected and transformed efficiently, and that is consumed by analyst or scientist. So this is what is the expectation out of data engineer. They usually design architecture, they usually design APIs, they usually transform the data, and this is all is the expectation. Then coming to business analyst, the work of business analyst involves uh, as a business analyst, you are expected to provide some of the use cases which can improve the business, or you have to provide some of the process transformation which can improve the business using data. So, as a business analyst, you should be knowing SQL. You should be having a basic understanding of statistics, probability, and a very basic understanding of machine learning. So why these statistical knowledge and machine learning knowledge is required? Because in order for you to design a use case, in order for you to identify a use case, you should be knowing like what are the skills that can be applied. So that's why you are required to know a little, or you should be having a basics of stats and machine learning before you begin with your role. And SQL is required for you to query the data, for you to understand and explore the data. So this is what is expected out of you as a business analyst. So the work of business analyst will be similar to BI specialist. The work of data engineer will be similar to big data engineer. And there can be a number of names for these profile, but in nutshell, these are the work expected out of them. Then coming to data scientist. So as a data, first we'll cover about data analyst. So as a data analyst, you are expected to know about Python. You are expected to know SQL, statistics, probability, and visualization. Means like BI tools. So this is what is expected out of you as a data analyst. So you should be knowing like what the data is telling, you should be knowing like how to pull out the insights from the data. What are the insights that can be recovered from this data? You should be knowing like how to present this data in visual format using BI tools or any Python libraries. So that is what expected out of you. Again, over here, SQL will be required. Good knowledge of statistics is required. um, Python is required so that you can do advanced analysis over there. Yeah, so pretty much these are the basics which are required from data analyst. Then coming to data scientist. So as a data scientist, you should be knowing like how data can be transformed and saved to some repositories, like the work of data engineer. You should be knowing how, like what that data is telling you using, and or what else can be done using that data. So it covers both business analyst and data analyst part as well. So as a data scientist, you're expected to have good knowledge of SQL, good knowledge of statistics and probability, good knowledge of machine learning, deep learning. So this is these are very, and Python, yeah, for sure. So these are some of the skills which are required as a data scientist if you are targeting for that field. So yeah, data analyst, data as a data scientist, you should be knowing, you are expected that you know about dashboards or BI tools, but it is not must. Based on company to company, it varies. Like dashboarding can be there and or cannot be there, but it is not a must for you. Then coming to machine learning engineer. So role of machine learning engineer will be almost similar to data scientists. It's just that as a machine learning engineer, you should be knowing how to deploy a model on cloud. So as a data scientist, it is not a must skill, but usually companies look for this skill as well in the data scientist. So these roles are quite similar. It's just that AI or ML engineer are expected to know about how the deployment is done. And as a data scientist, if you know, that is a very good, well and good. Otherwise, it is also accepted that you don't know about that step. But usually, I have seen companies also look for this skill when they are hiring the deployment skill as a data scientist for. So yeah, after that, yeah, applied scientist or ML scientist is similar to AI ML engineer. So these roles are similar. So if you go for any company, they might have their different roles, job role name. But if you read the description, the work will be coming from these three, four job roles only. Yeah. So let's understand like what are the interview rounds there in what are some different rounds in data related field. So generally interviews begin with a screening round, and these interviews have 4 to 5 rounds generally. So in screening round, manager calls you up and try to understand like what is your experience, what are the skills you know about, how good you fit in their culture, in the culture of their team or in the culture of the company. So this is all like high level understanding of yours will be done in screening round, wherein they will understand your experience, your projects, a high level on your project, and what are the skills you know, and how you are behaviorally. Are you a good fit for their company or not? So that is what is done in screening now. Once that is passed, you are there will be a technical round wherein interviewer will ask you technical questions like let's say you were targeting for data scientist role. Then interviewer might ask you about what are different machine learning algorithms, try to explain them in detail, and questions around them. So these kind of questions will be there in technical round, wherein they will try to understand that are you good with technical knowledge or not, or do you know that when a skill should be applied or not. So let's say uh, you know various machine learning algorithms. Let's say there is one of the algorithm, linear regression. You know about linear regression, but you don't know in what scenario this should be applied. So this can be a negative point for you, and try avoiding these kind of mistakes wherein you don't know when to apply a certain knowledge. So these kind of things are tested in your technical round, wherein they try to understand if you know about certain skill or not, and do you know when to apply that skill. So this is what is understood. Then coming to case study or problem solving round. So as I explained earlier in skill part as well, in soft skill over here. So in this round, case study round, problem solving is also judged. So what happens in case study round, they give you, interviewer give you a very high level problem and ask you that solve it using whatever knowledge you have. So let's say interviewer will give you a high level problem like there was a product, and n number of people were using initially. Now with increase with coming with as the days are passing, people, the use number of users of that product is decreasing. So what it is saying is, initially for that product there were n number of users, there were 100 users, and now for that product there are only 10 users. So try to find out like what is the root cause, or how you will approach this problem, how you will build out a machine learning model or any statistical model out of it. So you'll have to walk through your knowledge. You'll have to tell them that I'll collect the data using this and this technology. I'll go through the analysis, or I'll pull out some of the insights using this model or this statistics. Like this, you'll have to walk through the data. And in this step, the problem solving skill will come, wherein it will be judged by interviewer that are you able to identify any problem or not, are you able to apply your skills by identifying any problem or not, like, or you are always required to give a problem statement, then only you will be able to apply your skills. So this is what is judged, like, are you able to identify a problem by yourself, or you should be knowing, then only you can solve the problem. So this is what is judged in case study or problem solving round. Then coming to tools and technology round. So over here, you are expected to showcase your skills, like if you know well about Power BI. So interviewer might ask you to write some of the queries, to write some of the steps using which you can generate out a dashboard. Or if you are good with Python or SQL, then interviewer might ask you some of the coding problems or some of the queries from SQL. So depending on what technology you have mentioned or what tools you have mentioned and what job role you are targeting for, this round will be having questions accordingly. So let's say you are targeting for business analyst role. So in this round, they might ask you questions around SQL. If you are target SQL, questions around Excel as well. If you are targeting, let's say, data analyst role, they might ask you questions around building a dashboard and how you can build a dashboard using what query. So the questions can be around that. And if you're targeting, let's say, for data engineer role, they might ask you problem solving question around Python. By problem solving, I mean using data structure and algorithm. Are you able to solve a simple problem or not? So these kind of coding problems are expected in data engineer interview. So this is what is expected out of you in tools and technology round. Are you comfortable with the technology you are using or not, and or company is using and not or not? Then finally, there is a managerial or leadership round wherein they try to understand if you have right culture fit or not with their company. So they will ask you questions based on some of the scenarios. They will give you some of the scenarios, or they will ask you about some of the scenario, like tell me the last time you had some failure in production and how did you manage it. Tell me the last time you had uncomfortable situation with your teammate and how did you handle it. So these kind of questions are there, and through these questions they try to understand if you are culturally fit for them or not. So yeah, this is all is expected out of you in interviews. And yeah, so with this, let's we have concluded our session. I hope you got some of the information through this. And do fill out the form, do check it out, do check out the course, because having a course would give you an extra edge. Waiting for like covering up things from yourself will take a very long amount of time, and you might end up learning skills which are not even relevant in the industry. So these courses are designed by industry experts. So try to fill up the form, and try to understand about the course. I think Coding Ninjas team can help you with the courses. So let's begin with the Q&A, and let's see.